I see a question in the chat. Will the spec create tasks based on the PRD? Yes, it will. Just for example, let me show you how that looks from the start, because it's actually really cool. It's a different version of PRD creation or PRD extension. I'm going to make a repository that we can throw this in. So I have GitHub up on another screen. We're going to create that repository, publish it. I'm going to open that repository in Kiro. And we're going to window, open a project, GitHub, dummy repo, and tell it, okay. All right, so this is just a blank GitHub repository that we're in. And we can give it the same PRD that we have here. We'll go up into specs, give it this, and hit enter. And it automatically starts a spec for this. So it creates a little directory, a .kiro, where it keeps all of its specs. Now, this is something that's interesting inside Kiro. Like in Windsurf or Cursor, you set global rules for all of your builds, and then you can do project-specific rules. From what I've found, this only does project-specific rules, and it does them here in steering. So you basically say general rules, and it creates an MD file, and then you can copy in whatever rule set you generally use on any other application like Windsurf or Cursor or anything like that. So we could go over here and copy the general rules that I use all the time and paste them in here and save it, close that, and then it uses those rules during the build. So here it's created a requirements.md file. And these are the requirements that it has come up with for this project. Doesn't look too bad. It has clearly a very strict pattern that it does when creating these requirement documents. It follows the here's format here. And the two I've generated all look the same in the flow. So it's very consistent in what it generates here for your requirements, and it saves those in the project. Let's flip back over here and tell this to create our MD file so we know where it is. Please put that info into a first build MD file. Don't change anything else. Then we'll sync that up to GitHub and pull it down locally. And there we are. I've used up my last prompt there, but it'll get us where we need to be, because now we'll have that file. So it'll finish that up. If we go back over here, then we're still in this specs flow, right? And it creates a requirements document, a design document, and a task list to execute. And then you can actually click through the tasks to execute them, which is really neat. So move to design phase here. And it's going to create that design document up here as it goes along. Here's that MD file being built out for us. Here we are. And we are going to say, what did I name this? Simple ecom 1. Create that repo. This is going to push it up to GitHub for us. Each of these applications has a little different GitHub integration, but once you've worked with a couple of them, they all start to look the same. So here it's still working on that design MD. We don't have anything published in there yet. And we're going to set main as the active branch and then publish everything to that. So now that is up on GitHub, and we'll be able to pull it down locally with GitHub Desktop. Here in GitHub Desktop, I'm doing the clone repository. We have to refresh these repos and get simple ecom 1 and clone that down. And we'll fetch that to the computer. And then we'll hop over to Kiro just for the sake of doing this with Kiro to see a new tool. We will open a new window and grab this repo that we just made, pull that down. So now that is open. I have it set to Claude 3.7. Anthropic is having Claude 4.0 issues this morning, as is tradition with them. So that's been timing out quite often. If your AI agent is acting up, always just go over to Anthropic status if you're using Claude, and you will see whether or not they've had anything on the dates. They mention timestamps here, but I've found that if an issue has happened on that day, it tends to take a while to actually fix itself, even after they've deployed a fix. So you'll see the ripples of that for the next few hours. Does it help the AI? Question from Quentin. Does it help the AI if we give them a Snickers? I haven't tried. I would want an older computer for that, just in case it clogs up the operations. So Snickers throughput isn't a thing I know too well yet. Okay. So let's see if we have all of our files here. So these are all the files that were built. And we have this first build. This is what we had V0 make for us. So it outlines what it's built, what it is not built, and so on. Now we need a database. So we are going to start by going over here and adding a database inside Railway. So that's going to run and have its storage built. And that will take a couple minutes to provision. And while that is provisioning, we are going to go back here and we're going to vibe with Kiro. This is very similar to the agent mode in Claude or in Windsurf or anything like that. We're going to say, please review this project and tell me what is required to run it locally. What is needed in the .env file and what dependencies need to be installed, and send that on its way here. Go back over here and see if our database is deployed. It is being deployed right now. That's still underway. There we are. And then under here, you're going to have your variables for accessing your database. Most of the time, you just need the public URL here for building locally. I'm going to go ahead and use this database for the local build. What you can do is have one that's set up for a staging environment here, like this, and then have a production environment and use a staging database URL for your device for local and a production URL in your production build. That's entirely doable. Since we're not really making this into production, we're just going to use the default one here. So we'll copy that over and let's see what it says about this. Looks like it's still thinking. While that's running, let's take a look at our plan. So it's created that design. This is that spec process that we're doing here. We're exploring the spec tool inside Kiro. So this is the architecture that it is built. And then what I found was this implementation plan was extra cool, the way it formats that, because you'll see in a minute, it creates a task list that you can go through and just click the task and it will execute the task for you, rather than having to prompt it to go read the task, which is pretty neat in my opinion. So we're going to see that operate. Let's see here. Current project status. This is what's built, not built at all. So we have our running process. Got to install some dependencies. I'm reading this backwards. Okay. So the first thing I want is build a .env example. I can use that will match required variables. All right, so we're going to have it add that in here. That'll show up over here in a second. There it is. And we'll see what it puts in as required variables. I think it's going to need, well, here we go. Needs stripe keys, database URL, our public URL here. Okay. So now we're going to copy this. Is that done building? Yes. So we're going to copy this to local just as it says here. And if you want to, you can just run this in terminal, or you can right click and copy and then right click and paste. Some tools won't give you this ability to run in terminal. So it's up to you. But there that is. Now that's in place. And we will put in the URL that we got from here for our database. So we can have that connection right away. There we go. And that's in place now. This env example, you might want to actually send that up to, this doesn't really have any secret information in it. This is an example for how it should be set up. I can see right here, it's grayed out. So it is set to be ignored here, like this. And I am going to take this and say local is ignored. There we go. So local is ignored and the env example can go up to GitHub. So anybody who would download this repo knows what needs to be put in the .env file. Does that make sense? We're not hiding what needs to be there. We're just hiding our own specific information that we need to keep on our local dev environment. So then it gave us run instructions up here. We have to install the dependencies and let's see if those are all, yeah, those are all blocked out. So those won't load up to GitHub, which is great. So let's run this. We're just going to go down here into terminal. If you don't have terminal open, just go up here and tell it new terminal and you'll have access to it. So we're going to do npm install like that and see if things are organized properly or if they are missing or incorrect dependencies set up. And then we will attempt to run it here locally. Let's go back over and check out this task list. So there are the tasks and we'll finalize the task list here. So this is what it came up with. See this little start task button? You can just click that and it will go and do that set of tasks. So you can click a task and it'll do it. And then you go back and click another task. We'll finalize that task list. This would be where in the requirements and in the design and in the tasks that you might want to edit some stuff if you're particular about what's being built and you don't like what it drew up here. The example we're doing here, I don't really care what it comes up with. Just want to show you the use of the tool. So we're not really going to edit that. Okay, so those are all in place. We've done a bunch of stuff here. We've filled up the context window. So we would do a new session and then we would tell it to start this task. Now that is running everything in these subtasks here. It's going to process this. There's that general rules that I gave it, which are just my general dev rules that I like to include. Things like don't make files that are super long. Don't go and write stuff without putting it in the changelog, rules like that. We'll hop back over here to the ecom and see where we are. Everything installed. Now, I don't know if it's going to have dependencies on some of these that will stop it from starting or not. So we're going to just see. And I may have another application running on port 3000. Let me go and close that real quick first. There we go. Make sure that we don't have a conflict when we go to run it. So we'll just copy this, put it down here in terminal, and run the application. And then you would control or command click to open that in a browser. And now this is running locally. So we've copied that site down to our computer. We're running it locally. Now we can do the dev work on it to put it up in the cloud the way we want. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and follow. And if you need help building or finishing your app, click the link in my bio to book a one-on-one Zoom call to take a look at your project.